Good afternoon, and welcome to the 2020 Catawba County Economic Development Corporation annual meeting. I know that things have changed for everyone. The world has changed, our way of business has changed, and we're all adjusting to this change. So thank you for joining us virtually this year in an unprecedented annual meeting that we've never had to experience before. Things are challenging. There's a lot of bad news. There's a lot of interesting adjustments we've had to make, but I'd like to focus today on some of the good things that are happening and how we can adjust as a part of an economic development world to keep our industries and businesses moving along. Things are challenging at this time, and we hear, like I said, a lot of the bad things, but let's think about some of the positive things too, how we've adjusted, how we've managed to get through this. A lot of us have had more sit-down meals with our families than we've ever had in the past. So that's a good thing that's coming out of this. We're outside, we're more active in a lot of cases. Some of us have talked about adding the COVID-15, but a lot of other people have talked about how they've gotten better shape physically and mentally. So let's take advantage of some of these challenging times and adjust as we can to make sure that we stay in tune with what's going on in our world and keep things moving along. So I'd like to again welcome you today and let you know that we've got an interesting schedule on the agenda. Some of the advantages here, again, another positive thing that's coming out of this is that we've got a host of speakers on our panel today that if we were all meeting in person, I dare say we would not be able to all enjoy these conversations. So by having this virtually, we're able to bring in a number of folks that we might be able to get one or two, but not the entire panel that we're going to enjoy hearing from today. So enjoy the rest of this annual meeting, and let's start off by getting an update on the economic development situation in North Carolina and particularly in Hickory MSA.
Hello, this is Mark Vitner, Senior Economist at Wells Fargo, and I'm going to provide a brief 2-minute economic update. The first half of the year was horrible. We're going to see a couple of numbers that reflect that in the next couple of weeks. Real GDP growth for the second quarter will come out the last business day of July. It's likely to show the largest quarterly decline in U.S. history, a drop of somewhere around 35%. If there's a saving grace in that number, it is that all of the weakness was at the front end of the quarter. It was really in the month of April. And we began to see the economy improve in May and June, and we think that that improvement will carry over into the second half of the year. Now, while we're expecting more improvement in the second half of the year, there is no doubt that the economy has hit a little bit of a speed bump as we've seen the number of COVID infections increase across the Sun Belt. As many of you are aware, the Sun Belt accounts for a disproportionate share of economic activity in the U.S. And the rise in cases has already caused businesses and consumers to pull back their level of economic engagement. We've seen that in some of the high frequency data like restaurant dining, the hours worked at small businesses. They've all rolled over, but we're still headed in the right direction. The economy is still growing. The numbers for the second quarter are going to look pretty good. GDP growth in the second half of the year are going to look pretty good. GDP growth in the third quarter is likely to be somewhere in the neighborhood of 19%. In the fourth quarter, it's likely to be in the 10% range. North Carolina has largely followed the national trends. We had huge job losses in March and April. We were a little bit slower in reopening the economy. And so our job gains in the month of May were not as large as we saw on a proportional basis as the U.S. did. We think we're going to have a little bit of a catch up in June and July. But unfortunately, we've still had quite a bit of difficulty in the number of COVID cases, particularly in the Charlotte area, but also in Raleigh. That's where the problem has been the greatest. It hasn't been as great in some of the smaller metro areas and the rural areas, and the bulk of job losses have been in the Charlotte and Raleigh area. The Hickory area has seen pretty severe job losses, however. Job losses in the Hickory metro area were about 19%, which actually were greater than the nation and greater than the state. As in Charlotte and Raleigh, job losses were primarily in customer-facing industries like retailing, leisure and hospitality, restaurants and bars, and doctors and dentist offices. Manufacturing plays a bigger role in the Catawba Valley, and we saw a number of factories shut down as well, and that's why the numbers are a little bit larger in the Hickory metro area than they are nationally. We do expect to see that those job gains are going to be recovered the second half of the year. We had a small gain in May. We've seen that factories have reopened and have continued to reopen in recent months, and we expect that to continue. In terms of some of the underlying trends that are moving in our favor, one of them that I think is real important is that housing is holding up relatively well. We've seen that mortgage applications for the purchase of a home have actually totally recovered. They're higher today than they were prior to COVID. And we've seen that both sales of new and existing homes have begun to pick up. And of course, when home sales pick up, furniture sales tend to pick up, home furnishing sales begin to pick up. And we've seen pretty good order trends on that front. The telecommunications sector also has a lot of momentum. The rollout of 5G is continuing. And on top of that, we're seeing increased attention at making sure that we invest more in producing communications equipment in the U.S., which should be very good news for Catawba County. Lastly, we're seeing continued energy behind reshoring initiatives, and that's particularly true for personal protective equipment and pharmaceuticals. I expect that to continue. I expect to see a lot of interest in reshoring from both political parties as we move into the fall elections. That's all I've got now. I look forward to seeing you in person next time.
Greetings, everyone, and congratulations on this year's annual meeting to celebrate the work of the Catawba EDC over the past year. I know it's unusual times for all of us, but I appreciate you all coming together to support your local economic development efforts. Their work is more important now than ever, and so is your support of their mission. It's been a whirlwind here at the EDPNC these past few months. We've certainly seen this pandemic deliver a big hit to major parts of North Carolina's economy, including our $27 billion a year tourism industry and our large cluster of automotive and aerospace suppliers. At the same time, we're extremely thankful that we've also seen countless stories of resilience from our thousands of manufacturers across the state, including many that are making a successful pivot to manufacture personal protective equipment and other critical medical supplies. We've also seen a number of companies announce new locations and major expansions across the state in everything from the biotechnology and healthcare sectors to textiles manufacturing and food processing. As we look to the next 6 to 12 months, three things are becoming more and more apparent. Number one, recruiting industry is still important, but the economic shock of COVID-19, it's an overdue reminder to us all that for so many communities across North Carolina, tourism and the growth of existing employers are equally important contributors to economic development. The Catawba EDC is doing a great job with supporting the needs of existing industry in the county, while folks like Mandy Pitts and her team at the Hickory CVB are doing all they can to help with the recovery of local tourism. Number two, more companies are pressing ahead with their investment and expansion plans, even in light of the continuing pandemic. In March, April, and May, at the state level, we saw new recruitment deal flow at levels roughly 25 to 30% below the same months in 2019. In June, however, we significantly outpaced new deal flow compared to June 2019 by a factor of 1/3. We're hopeful this promising trend continues throughout the summer and beyond. Number three, fundamentals like workforce and product, meaning sites and buildings, will still be relevant for companies planning new locations, even if the workplace will look very different post-pandemic. Even more important for markets like Hickory and Catawba County, it's quite possible that more companies will shy away from large urban markets in favor of smaller and mid-sized communities for their future growth. And of course, as more employees are given the option to work remotely wherever they want, that also presents communities like Catawba County with the opportunity to recruit new residents who telecommute to their jobs halfway across the state or halfway across this country. Whatever the world looks like in another year, all of us at the Economic Development Partnership of North Carolina look forward to continuing our strong partnership with Scott and his whole team at the Catawba EDC. Thank you very much, and please have a great rest of your annual meeting.
Hello, Catawba County. Hope y'all are staying healthy and safe out there. I'm pleased to share with you that even amid the crises our country is facing, The Charlotte region's appeal as an investment location continues to be attractive to business. Our Carolinas region enjoys a global reputation for our East Coast location, easy connectivity in and out of Charlotte Douglas, a deep pool of highly skilled and professional talent, and a rich tapestry of businesses ranging from large and small that have a can-do spirit of making, innovating, and engineering. Round all of this out with a playground of mountains, trails, and rivers, alongside good food, sports and entertainment, arts and culture, and it's clear. All of this, plus affordability, are reasons why companies are choosing to grow here. We've seen recent announcements by Centene in Charlotte, Ross Stores in York County, Golden Home in Cabarrus County, and of course, Corning, ITM, and Cadeler North America in Hickory and Catawba County, which are all proof that our region is well suited for business investment. As you know, in Charlotte's Great Northwest, you're poised for even greater opportunity. You have expanded transportation infrastructure, assets like Trivium Corporate Center, and your manufacturing powerhouse in Catawba Valley Community College, which will all continue to serve you well into the future. In addition to all of this, you have a great team of experts in Scott Millar and his good folks at EDC, and in your slate of local and county leaders who are making thoughtful investments now to reap even greater and longer-term benefit for your community's health and overall vibrancy. The Charlotte Regional Business Alliance is so proud to partner with you, and we look forward to building on this momentum together.
Hello, I'm Randy Isenhower, Chairman of the Catawba County Board of Commissioners. On behalf of our full board, I appreciate being able to underscore the commitment we've all made to economic development here in Catawba County and those good results. K64, as you are aware, this is a collaborative effort. County Commissioners have allocated $1.3 million per year over a 5-year period to this good effort. And this is a lifelong program for education and job skills, which will keep our homegrown talent here in Catawba County. The Workforce Solutions Complex, a state-of-the-art facility, which will provide education and training for the high-tech, high-skilled jobs needed for today and tomorrow's industries. This is certainly a benefit for our current employers and an attraction for future business and industry. And Catawba County will continue to be a great place to do business. With its low cost, with less regulation, we will continue to work with partners such as our municipalities and our private sector to develop business parks, to develop future spec buildings. Those good efforts to date have netted $209 million in investment and close to 1,500 jobs. We will identify and work with businesses that meet the critical needs of our population as conditions may arise, such as the current pandemic. And we will continue to partner with the Golden Leaf Foundation as that foundation moves to another round of community-based grants initiative for economic development here in the Northwest Prosperity Zone. We appreciate the effort each of you have made to the Catawba County organizations, and I'm confident that with our continued collaborative strategic investments in education, in workforce development, and in economic development, Catawba County will continue to be a great place to live and to work and to raise a family. Thank you.
Hello, my name's Mark Williams. It's a pleasure to be with you here today at the Catawba County EDC annual meeting virtually. My name's Mark Williams. I'm president and founder of Strategic Development Group. We are a site location firm that focuses mainly on manufacturing throughout the U.S., lots of automotive, chemical, steel, life science projects. We've spent a good bit of time with Scott up in Catawba County over the years and have always been extremely impressed with what's going on there. And so I'm sorry you have to get together virtually, but I know a big, good program has been put together. You know, I wanted to talk about a couple of circumstances and how Catawba County, I believe, is positioned for those business circumstances. The first has to do with, we had 120 months of recovery up until really February of 2020. And what that did across the country, is reduce the availability of sites and buildings for manufacturing projects, which your county excels in attracting. And what you've done, which is so fantastic, and I visited the Trivium Park with Scott a few weeks ago, is you've developed that pipeline of product, which is important. We are in some difficult times economically now, but we're going to come out of it, and your county having that product coming online is just so important. The second thing that I think is really important to your organization from a business perspective is this whole COVID situation, and what does that mean, and what does that change? The essence is that we're probably going to be in a recession, and we're going to come out of it. We're going to come out of it strong. And what are the tendencies of that recovery going to look like? What's going to have changed? Well, there's going to have to be a lot of training of the workforce, of displaced workforce. And I know the county has distinctive positive assets in order to make that happen. I mentioned the site scenario that you have in terms of product. That's very important. Business conditions are also going to change a bit because of COVID. You've heard probably about reshoring, how that may be increasing, and I believe it is. I believe that business and manufacturing locations are going to become more capital intensive, more investment per job. I think Catawba County is very well positioned for that in terms of the sophistication of its workforce and the sophistication of its training facilities. Companies are more concerned now about supply chain than they ever have been. And many of those companies and business sectors are sectors that Catawba County will do well in attracting. Pharma, life science, these are businesses that are concerned about supply chain, concerned about safety. Manufacturers that may have moved offshore for economic reasons are now coming back knowing that their primary customers are in the U.S. and wanting to cut back on supply chain risk. So congratulations to you on all you're doing in product development. I know you'll come out of this economic situation in a great place. The county has a long-standing history of attracting great companies and doing great deals and having a manufacturing presence that's really profoundly positive. So thanks again for letting me be part of your meeting. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Brock Long. I'm the former administrator of the Federal Emergency Management Agency and also a resident of Hickory, North Carolina. And my career in emergency management of 21 years has proven to me that resilient cities are attractive cities to new businesses looking for a home. Bottom line is the disasters of 2017, 18, and now COVID, community leaders need to be looking at ways to create a resilient and mitigated infrastructure, formulating strong partnerships with the private sector to make sure that critical supply chains are always up and running despite what we face. And they need to recognize that safety and security is the foundation for a viable community. If you can put these things into place, and there's never been a time now where there's been more money from the federal government to look at mitigation strategies, if you put these things in place, that the city of Hickory and Catawba County will become more attractive to businesses in the future.
Thanks again to the speakers that you've just heard from. They've provided some great and valuable information. We're delighted that they could join us today. As your outgoing chair of the EDC board, I would like to say thank you for the support you've given me over the past 2 years. I've thoroughly enjoyed my role, and I always enjoy working with each municipality, with the county, to find ways to improve our economic situation in this county. I'm pleased to introduce your next chair of the EDC board, and that's Dr. Garrett Henshaw, president of Catawba Valley Community College.
I'm Garrett Henshaw, president of Catawba Valley Community College, and I just want to take a moment today to thank Robin Nicholson for her leadership over the last 2 years with the Economic Development Corporation of Catawba County. Her leadership has led to a lot of successes here. Robin, thank you. I'm also honored to be the new chair of the Economic Development Corporation, and I want to continue to further leverage the partnerships and opportunities for economic development here in this area. We are very unique. It's exciting to leverage the linkage between economic development, education, and government with our 1-2-3 punch. The Workforce Solutions Complex with a program associated called K64 to assure that we have an adequate workforce for the future. The Manufacturing Solutions Center to help support existing businesses, help them grow and develop their products, and continue to develop sites and buildings that are ready for new businesses that are looking for a place to locate. You see, there's no other place in this region or state that has those assets to put on the table when a new company is thinking about relocating. I'm excited to be here to work with you as partners on one team to enhance the economic development for Catawba County and to grow the future of this region for all of our young people. Thank you.